to Quadrants of Mental Health. I am your host, AJ, coming to you again this week with another episode. Want to thank all of you who have been following me and ask that you would like, subscribe, and share. We're trying to build a network here. Help a brother out, okay? We always talk about, let's say, the quadrants of mental health. So it's mind, body, spirit, and finances. So we can cover the gamut of all of those. But today, we're going to be talking about finances. We're going to be talking about the importance of you parents, you adults, teaching children financial literacy. We deal with the emotional part of things here a lot of times, but in order to have financial literacy, financial IQ, you want to deal with that emotional part. So emotions are important. Robert Kiyosaki talked about that a lot in the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I'd encourage you to read that book. And then let's get into today's session. We're going to be talking about finances. And I'm going to be a little bit rudimentary for some of you, but I'm just encouraging you to learn so that we can teach our children, okay? It's important that they learn these things. The first question on I'm going to call this business intelligence or financial intelligence is, what agency has a contract with the federal government and acts like a federal agency? What's the name of that agency that acts? Everybody thinks it's a federal agency, but it's not. And that is the IRS, Internal Revenue Service. Most people think that it's a federal agency. They have a contract. Okay, so a lot of people are afraid of them, and we should not be afraid of them. They have rules and guidelines that they have to abide by that comes from what? Congress, the government. They can only do what they are allowed to do. So sometimes they may come at you wrong. You can get an attorney that would help you to deal with some of those issues if you feel as though they're not acting right. And the IRS really just wants you to do what you say you are. If you say you're an employee, act like an employee. It's a difference between evading taxes and avoiding. Okay? You can legally avoid. That's the key. Okay? Number 2, what is the largest bill you pay on a monthly basis? What's the largest bill? That bill is taxes. A lot of people think it's your mortgage or your car payment or whatever, but taxes. Before you get your paycheck, what do? They take out taxes. When you save money, you pay taxes. When you spend money, you pay taxes. When you invest money, you have to pay taxes. That is a huge percentage of your bill. Of your monthly income. Some people get paid weekly. Some people get paid bi-weekly. I remember once when I had a job, I got paid monthly. That was hard because they take out more taxes. The more money you make, the more money they take. When you give them a larger number, their percentage changes. Well, the percentage doesn't change, but you bring home less money. Okay? So getting paid weekly is probably better for you, but if you got paid monthly, you would bring home less money. But that's all I'm really saying, okay? Number 3, how many tax systems are there? How many different tax systems out there? And we need to really teach this to our children so that they understand, because when we don't know and understand things, guess what? We get used and abused. And a lot of people are so afraid of the IRS, afraid of going to jail. Get a tax attorney. Get an accountant. Okay? You don't have to do your own taxes. Pay someone to do those things for you. That's what's going to decrease your fear. And here's my rule for finances. I only have one rule for finances. And that rule is ask. If you don't know something, ask. If you're not sure of something, ask. And the question is, how can I? How can I save money on taxes? How can I pay less taxes? How can I invest more? Whatever it is, you want to ask, how can I? Because the moment you say I can't, your brain goes to watching TV or watching Love and Hip Hop, okay? So you want to be able to ask, how can I reduce taxes if that's what you want to do, okay? Another tax question. What year was payroll deductions implemented? In what year was payroll deductions implemented? Very significant. And the reason why you need to know that and understand that is because the size of the government then, prior to that date, why was it implemented, and who benefited from that? Because right now we have a huge government. There's so many people working for the federal government now, and the federal government doesn't produce and manufacture anything. Do y'all realize that? See, if I own a company, I have to produce a product. The federal government doesn't have a product, but they make a lot of money. They pay a lot of benefits to people. Okay, and that year was in 1943. That was during World War II. They instituted payroll deduction. You got to ask yourself, do some research, find out why they did it. And what impact did that have on these United States when they did that? Okay, because the government size continues to grow every year these days. And now you got what? Retirement benefits that you're paying. Okay, so our tax dollars are doing that. And then when I say tax dollars, you got tax dollars from payroll. You got tax dollars from when you spend money in stores as a consumer. You got tax dollars when you win money. So those are different forms of tax dollars that are utilized to what? Pay benefits, to pay salaries and things like that for the government. Business owners do three things. What are those three things business owners do? What do you think they are? I'm going to tell you. They own businesses, number one. They control businesses, number two, and they create businesses. Now, when I say control a business, that's usually done through trust funds, trust accounts, when you have control. It's not in your name. You didn't create it, but you can control it through a trust fund. And we'll talk about that as we get more into this. But, ask. If you have a question or comment, put it in the comment section. We can add the email address. You can send us an email. But you definitely want to ask questions. Why? How can I? Okay? Business owners own businesses, control businesses, and create businesses. Very important. They have three options. As an employee, what options do you have? Get a job, work for someone else, and work until you. A lot of times years ago, they used to say work until you retire, but now they say work until you die. Okay? Business owners own, control, create. Here's the next one, number 6. When job hunting, employees, listen to me now, watch this. Employees, what are they looking for? What are the two things that employees are looking for? Okay? I hear this all the time. I hire people. Do you have any benefits? That's one. And they look for security. They want job security and benefits. They're not looking for an opportunity. I read a story one time, Robert Kiyosaki. He said when he hired people to work for him, he had one requirement, that they had to start their own business. They had to do something outside of what he was paying them to do. And a lot of people quit. Didn't want to do it. Because they were coming there for benefits and security. Security is, we got a retirement package for you. Or we got a medical plan for you, a dental plan for you. See, we want to be taken care of as employees. But as a business owner, hey, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. I need to grind it out. Therefore, we take care of ourselves, mind, body, spirit, and finances. Okay? Number 7. Since grade school, I kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier. Since grade school, people have heard this statement. Go to school, make good grades, and get a good job. And I said earlier, you work until you die. It used to say work until you retire. But I think in 1989, when IBM made some changes, they started laying people off. First time ever happening with them. Companies start getting rid of retirement benefits and retirement packages. They put that burden on you to set your own retirement. And believe it or not, the 401k program is a joke. You could do a better job. You could get a better return by doing it yourself versus putting it in the company's hands to do, you could do a much better job. Much better job. But you have to do what? Do some research. Go to school. Get good grades. Get a good job. And as I started businesses in the past, I always heard, you going to leave that good job? I can't believe you're going to leave that good job with those benefits. Okay? We fail to realize, but when you build someone else's dream, that has nothing to do with you. Because 6 months after you leave, and I've seen this happen, 6 months after you leave a job, they wouldn't even remember your name. 6 months. You could have been there for 20 years, and they would be saying, oh, what's that person's name they used to do? No, they don't care. I had a friend of mine when I worked in corporate. He had never been sick, never took off when he was sick, 7 years, never missed a day of work. And I said, okay, miss a couple of days and see how they treat you. He called out sick. He got treated so bad, I think within 2 years he was gone because he saw. He thought it was a badge of honor. Oh, yeah, I'm a good employee. Yeah, you're a good employee. You're a good employee. But when it comes down to something you need, that's a different story, okay? Go to school, get good grades, and get a good job. And work until you die. That is the new vernacular they're saying these days, okay? Number 8. What does the term ROI stand for? ROI. If you want to get a ROI in the business, what is that? I'm fumbling and stumbling a little bit. ROI stands for return on investment. So if I put in $100,000, what is my ROI? What is my return on my investment? If I invest $10 a month, what is my ROI, my return on my investment? How much money am I going to make? How long is it going to take for me to make that money? And what are my risk factors? These are questions that you would ask in order to get an ROI. If you don't ask questions, they could say, hey, you give me $100,000, put $100,000 in the bank, and we'll let you borrow $90,000, and then you pay us interest on your money that you borrowed. That sounds like a good deal for you? So many of us do that plan all the time. I'm going to say consumers. We do those things like that because we go to banks and we put our money in banks all the time. Okay. Then they will turn around and loan your money to you and to other people, and you have to pay them interest on the money, your money that you put into their system. Okay. Like I said before, when you go into any system, you have to accept the positives and negatives of that system. So the return on investment is your ROI. And that's something that you want to ask, look into, and see what are the factors there before you invest, before you spend money, before you get into that 401k. I know the school system use another term. They don't call it a 401k in the school system. I can't remember what it is right now, but put it in the comment section if you remember. Okay? So with that being said, just remember that those things are important, and we're going to go to number 9.